What can students expect from a PAL session?
It all depends on the topic. We've had quizzes, case studies, different scenarios. Sometimes we've had like models, anatomy models brought in, and just working in smaller groups is a lot better than just reading off a PowerPoint from a lecturer.
Yeah. I mean, all the activities we've done relates to the topic we're doing. So whether it's we're doing ECGs and you guys do some quiz and we're all guessing then, you explain it afterwards, or, case studies to the medical conditions, so we're more aware of what to look for. You guys have sort of covered a lot, to be honest. In some cases, PowerPoints are more sort of, needed for what we're doing, and they're still, compared to some lecturers, they're still very interactive, and you use it in a way where you don't use any jargon, so it's less confusing. You don't use any abbreviations, so it's more easier for us to understand from you guys rather than some of the lecturers, because I don't think some of them realise that we don't understand the words. But
yeah, and I think it's quite unique in the fact that in terms of the sessions that we provide, it's Rich and myself kind of looked at what was missing when we were in your year, what would we have liked to have seen, and obviously the university lecturers do a great job in terms of the content that they deliver, but obviously there's an extent where workload gets too much, and unfortunately there isn't enough time in normal timetabled sessions to do content. So Rich and myself kind of sat down and said, well, what would we have liked if we had more time? And actually having the opportunity to facilitate that with you guys, I think works really well. And talking to other PAL leaders in your year that have just taken on the role this year, it sounds like a lot of the sessions that Rich and myself have done, they've taken and developed their own ideas and said potentially we could tweak this next time. So I think it's nice that there's kind of like this almost legacy of like paramedic PAL leaders kind of flowing down the years, and it works really well.
Yeah.
I think the timing as well of the PAL sessions were really good. Like a week before an exam, maybe 2 weeks before an exam, and it just helped everyone feel a bit more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. PAL sessions are aimed at assessment. If you do that in week 1 of a 12-week unit, that's just pointless, because you're not recapping stuff, but also you're not allowing anyone. There's no point in bringing any new information that a student can't ask a question about something they haven't actually covered. So there is that balance between allowing time to absorb it and take it forward, but also then have to have covered enough of the stuff. I think sort of that gap between lecturer and student is kind of where we fill that void, in the sense that you're right, we try and avoid jargon. It's how do you understand a term that by year 2 that term then is natural to you. The lining of a heart, it's got 3 different names, but everyone just uses them interchangeably, and then you think, oh, actually that is difficult to understand. So lightheartedness is quite an important part of what we try and do, is that if it's dry, it will remain that way. So our case studies might involve anonymised lecturers in terms of health conditions, how they might deal with them and things like that, just to kind of allow you to engage in it, to then actually get the most out of that learning aim.
Also, you guys what I've noticed is you're very good at tailoring your activity to the sort of mood of the class. So maybe it's like end of a Monday, everyone's quite tired, and you can tell people need picking up a bit, so you might do some fun quiz, or you do check what sort of mood the cohort are in. And I mean, every cohort's different, so I feel like you've tailored your activities well.
I think just going off the back of tailoring sessions, I think that's something that me and Rich try to work on. Obviously, the nature of the students within paramedic science is very diverse. Loads of people from different backgrounds, whether they've got commitments at home such as family, children, work. Rich and myself found it difficult at first to timetable sessions that would work well for everybody, because obviously it's difficult to accommodate for everyone. So ways in which we got around that, and things that students could expect from paramedic science powers, we tried to cater for distance learners. So if you were potentially on shift, or if you had other commitments going on at home, we tried to make all our materials online as well, so everybody could access it at their own leisure, so they didn't have to come to our session but could do it from home.
And I think alongside that, the timing is really important as well. So rather than giving PAL sessions, it's almost a graveyard shift of, after 4 p.m, after a whole day of lectures, it's important, I think, for the coordinators to embed it in the programme, so it happens during the teaching day. And we're quite lucky with our programme. We can be quite flexible in that way, and we can work it around our practical sessions as well, which is handy. But I think that's what helps us be, helps it be successful.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the longer PAL sessions, although it's like officially should be this little neat hour, but actually when we sort of say we've got this event, it's almost like an event PAL session coming up, it's sort of an hour and out, and allows flexibility to move in if things have been raised.
Yeah.
Like I say, rather than 4:30 on a Tuesday after 6 hours of lectures, it's difficult. No one's going to be in a good frame of mind to sort of absorb that.
Definitely.